Questy is back with another list, and today we're talking about 5 death metal bands I can't get into. That's right, we just did black metal, 5 black metal bands I couldn't get into, and it wasn't really that controversial, so let's spice things up a little bit with my death metal list, which I'm sure will ruffle some feathers out there. But these are just 5 bands. Well, we'll get to one of them, which isn't even a band, it's a collection. But we'll get to them. 5 bands I just can't get into for one reason or the other, and I'll explain the reasons in the video. If you like them, good for you. I don't really care. These are bands I just don't like. Maybe in time I will, but for now, let's have some fun and talk about some bands I dislike. That's right, starting with... let's start with Mortician, shall we? Mortician is a band I don't really like. I know that the underground, the big ones, the heaviest band ever. Don't like them. I don't like heavy. Doesn't mean good, in my opinion. Heavy doesn't mean good. The reason I don't like this band, I'm not a big fan of the movie clips in the songs. I get it, the whole horror atmosphere is cool, but I don't know. It just throws me out of the music itself. I like more atmosphere. You know me, more in a catatonic. I like doom metal. I like slower stuff, atmospheric stuff. I do like heavy stuff, but more in the vein of like Marduk. I like that kind of heavy stuff. You can still hear what's going on. The kind of slam shit and a lot of brutal death just doesn't sound good to me. This is in that same line. Vocals are okay, but everything's got this static around it, which just the bass as well. The bass is so goddamn loud. It's like throughout the whole thing. I can see why people enjoy it. If you like the heaviest of the heavy times infinity, then you'll love this. I don't. My least favourite Cannibal Corpse albums are Butchered at Birth and Tomb of the Mutilated. Yeah, I get a lot of shit for that. I get a lot of shit for that. I've done 2 videos on them, Butchered Burst last, and both of them. Never been into that album. Just don't like the vocal style. Don't like the vocal style, and it's the same vocal style on here. So if you love that, you'll probably love the Tish. For me, I don't. You know, I love pretty much all the other Cannibal Corpse albums because the vocals start to change on the Bleeding, which I really enjoyed, and it was different on the debut, Eating Back to Life, so I liked the more thrashy nature. Tomb's okay, but I know Butcher just had this super raw kind of energy and atmosphere, which I wasn't a big fan of. But I love Cannibal Corpse. Every single other album I really enjoy. But yeah, the Tish has that same atmosphere, and the albums are just so fuzz heavy. The vocals, I'm kind of like, it's heavy. I will say it does have melody in. It does have some melody in, like my next pick. So yeah, that's enough bashing of a big band. Let's go on to another big band, Devourment. This is just heavy for the sake of heavy, in my opinion. Devourment is just kind of slam. It's bordering on that slam. I know a lot of brutal death and slam kind of. You could say, oh, it's this, it's that. Who cares? It just sounds not good to my ears. Yes, the drumming's relentless. Yes, the drumming's insane. Again, it has that fuzz over everything. It's a similar kind of sound to Mortician, which is probably why these 2 bands just don't gel with me. It's unrelenting. The entire album, and it's like, okay, alright, change it up a bit. change it up a bit. It just kind of bores me, this album. Coming from someone whose favourite genre is funeral doom. So that's a harsh thing to stink. I like 2-hour long albums where it's one fucking song. So when I say this is boring, then that's gotta sting. But yeah, tastes. You know, I like the funeral doomy stuff, atmospheric black, symphonic black, any black. And I love death metal. I love death metal to pieces. I love the old school death metal. I love as I said, Cannibal Corpse, Deicide. I like all Deicide albums. I think every single one's pretty good. Morbid Angel, I like all. Not all. Not Illid. Or Kingdom Sustained. Not a big fan of the later Morbid Angel, but all the early stuff's fantastic. Entombed's first couple of albums, amazing. You know, Vader. There's so many good death metal bands. It's just these just don't tickle my fancy. And Devourment is one that I've never understood the hype for. Yes, it's heavy, but not fun. It's not heavy fun. It's just heavy. Let's move on to the next pick. Ooh, let's go for some more classics, shall we? More horror themed with this one, Macabre. Macabre is a band I've never really understood. I'll give them credit to the others. They have a unique style. It's very horror themed. A lot of songs on serial killers and stuff, like Ted Bundy songs, stuff like that. But every time I try to listen to an album in full, I'm just kind of thrown out by the music itself. It's very punky. It's very disjointed and all over the place, and the vocal styles. I'm just kind of like, whoa, what is going on? What is going on? Really dislike the vocals. They completely throw me out with it. The themes are cool. Again, the clips in it. It's a similar thing to Mortician. Again, two bands. If you like one, you might like Macabre. Probably. These kind of fit a similar niche where I'm just kind of like, But it's a very weird band. It's the weirdness that puts me off. The songs are weird. The album covers are weird. The vocals are weird. The rhythms are weird. It's just very weird, and it just doesn't gel with me. It's not on easy listening, if that makes sense. Not an easy listening. I listen to music to relax, to chill out, and to have a good time. And this doesn't really do it for me, but I can definitely give them major props for being unique. I've not heard a single band like this, so major props to Macabre. Not hating on them, not hating on any of these bands, because they have their audience, and they do very well. It's just, when I listen to it, it doesn't do anything for me, so that is another band I can't get into. Now let's go with an obvious one. You know it's going to be in here somewhere. 6 Feet Under. That's right, Even Haunted. Even Haunted. Again, as I said before, Teamly Mutilated is alright. Butcher the Birth, not a big fan of. Chris Barnes was on them, and his vocal style I just never liked. It's that style I'm just not a big fan of. I like the more clearer singing, if you know what I mean. The clearer growling, sorry. You know what I mean? Like Mikkel from Opeth, his growling is very clear. I love it. Peter Tartar, how do you spell his name? How do you say his name? From Bloodbath and Hypocrisy, very clear growling. It's fantastic. Even Niall, I think, the growling. I know on the first album it's kind of in that similar vein as like Devourment, but the music itself around it's so much more interesting. But yeah, I love so many. I mean, Deicide, come on, vocals fantastic. Morbid Angel, vocals fantastic. For some reason, the vocals here, Chris Barnes, just not that good. And the later you get into the career, oh boy, the worse it gets. It's just like, what the fuck are you doing? His vocals get the shit, and they've been memed on a lot. Yes, it feels cheap putting it here, but it is a band I've never been able to get into, Even Haunted. I just don't think the melodies are that good. I just don't think the vocals are good. Not a big fan of it altogether, and the band itself just become a meme at this point. So I kind of wanted to put something else here, but I couldn't think of any other bands to throw here. I was going to put Sanguizigabog, or like Pissgrave or Frozen Soul, some of the other newer bands, but I don't really hate them. They're just kind of boring. Whereas this, I just don't want to listen to it. I just don't want to listen to it. Unless I'm really drunk, and then it'll be a good time. Have a laugh with your friends, put it on, listen to his then it'll be fun. As it stands, not fun. And let's go off with a bang. I'm not going to do one band for this, my last pick. Let's do a whole bunch of bands. Tech Death. Tech Death is my final band. Bands like Necrophagist. Bands like Archspire. That was a weird way of saying that. Archspire. Obscura. All these tech death bands that just kind of go into like the... It's like you had like this the Tasmanian Devil on a spaceship just smashing into everything. That's what it sounds like when I listen to tech death bands. Just a bunch of beeps and boots and alien noises with just ridiculous... It's fast, it's crazy, it's technical, but it's just chaotic, and again, not big into that, not big into the chaotic stuff. I like the more streamlined stuff. There is exceptions, there is some exceptions, like on our Laugh Rack, like I said in my previous video, because chaos is kind of focused, it's kind of focused. There's other bands that slip in my mind that I love that are probably chaotic as well, but not tech death. A lot of tech death just doesn't do much for thee. We're going Shakespeare. We're going thespian on your bumholes right here. It's too much for thee. But yeah, tech dev as a whole just doesn't do much for me. So what have we learned today? We've learned I don't like a lot of low, growly, gurgly death metal like Devourment, slam bands, and like 6 Feet Under, Mortician, and stuff like that. I almost put Dying Fetus here for the same reason, but the melodies in Dying Fetus make up for the vocals. I hate the vocals, but the melodies are so good in Dying Fetus, so they narrowly avoided it. And I've seen them live and they were great, so close. But yeah, that is some bands I can't get into in death metal. Again, no hate to all of them. You like what you like. But it's up to you now. Pop down below what bands do you hate within the death metal genre. Let me know down below and we'll have a little blast with this one. I feel like this will be more controversial than my others. Please enlighten me and we'll see you again on another Quest for Metal.